Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
The Boxing Voice, bringing you the most relevant news and latest rumors in the sport of boxing from around the world, while delivering diverse opinions and thought-provoking insights from a revolving cast of panelists. The most relevant guests in boxing, answering hard-hitting questions and touching on the topics that interest you the most. Correspondents from all over the globe, giving us the inside track on what's happening from fight town to fight town, and access to the inner workings of events allows you, the listener, a chance to get inside the fight. From continent to continent, coast to coast, we give you, the caller, a consistent outlet to voice your opinions on topics relevant to you by subscribing to iTunes, creating a tight-knit community by connecting the sweet science's most enthusiastic fans. Now, Nestor Gibbs.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Boxing Voice. And this is another spontaneous edition. We haven't done this in a while. And, I think this episode is just due. Definitely some big headlines, things that we need to be discussing, and things that we want to share with you, our listeners. We want to thank you, obviously, for being our listeners. Thank you for continuing to drop us 5-star reviews on iTunes. It's very important, and we truly appreciate it. I want to also remind everybody to head on over to theboxingvoice.com, man, and make sure that you are checking out these articles and supporting, doing a little sharing, making sure that you're sharing all those articles on your social media, because, these guys are putting in hard work, man. And like us, look at, man, it's 10 p.m. over here, East Coast time, man. Me and Mario, we're back at it again. And without further ado, let me just go ahead and bring him in and show you, man, late night, man, late rain, sleet, snow. We're here to go.
It's me, Mario.
The special Jimmy Kimmel edition, the late night guys. But it's going to be a good show. Very controversial topic. I just hope, Ness, that this doesn't spill over into tomorrow's show, because this is going to get dangerous here. These callers are going to be irate.
Well, I hope that it doesn't either, because this is a one and done here. That's why we're talking about it here. We're gonna have a little bit of chat. It's just gonna be, a couple of minutes. Who knows how long we'll go? But I see Matthew Luzzi in the chat already. Hey, listen, Matt, we need you to call in, man. You've been putting in that work for sure, and we want to hear your thoughts on this whole fiasco that is Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev, HBO. But, no one better than to give you the facts than a guy like Mario. So, Mario, why don't you tell the world what exactly it is that we're doing here on this episode?
So rumors were first reported about a month ago, several weeks ago, that Andre Ward and HBO were close to a deal. This deal would have been a 3-fight deal, and it would have had Ward fighting on the Canelo Cotto undercard pay-per-view November 21st as the co-feature. Then he would have taken another fight somewhere around March or April, most likely the headliner of a HBO World Championship Boxing. And then finally, the big fight, fall 2016, Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev, and let me rephrase that, Sergey Kovalev, Andre Ward, on an HBO pay-per-view headliner. That's all come to head. And Dan Rafael reported a couple days ago that, yesterday, that the deal is as close as it could be to not being done. It's basically done without being done. But there's one huge hiccup in the deal being done, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Super middleweight world champion Andre Ward, who's promoted by Rock Nation Sports, they've come to a deal with HBO, an agreement on a 3-fight deal. And the 3-fight deal will culminate with the fall 2016 pay-per-view showdown, like I said, against the 3-belt title holder at the light heavyweight division in Sergey Kovalev. However, the big snagging point isn't money, isn't Kovalev-Ward, who's going first, the music, what gloves they're going to use. The big snagging point so far at this point is who Andre Ward is going to fight on November 21st. This would mark the first part of the deal. Several opponents have been issued for Andre Ward, and several have been denied. This is not – it seems ridiculous in a sense, but the Ward deal has not been announced by HBO. It's not been announced by Ward. And the biggest reason is because of what I'm saying, is because of what I mentioned, the fact that that fight cannot be made yet. They don't have an opponent that everybody's agreeing upon, specifically the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So for that fight with Kovalev to move forward, first Ward has to fight November 21st on HBO pay-per-view as the co-feature. So who will Ward fight November 21st? It's been difficult finding an opponent that the Athletic State Commission will approve, and Executive Director Bob Bennett has told several outlets, including ESPN, that this tune-up fight, it hasn't been easy to secure because he doesn't like the opponents. One of the opponents, one of the first names mentioned, we talked about on this show, Australian Rohan Murdoch, who's 18-1 with 14 KOs.
AKA
Ness,
Matt Murdoch, Daredevil.
Matt Murdoch, the Daredevil. Ness, you have some interesting insights on Murdoch? You didn't think that he was the guy that deserved it, right?
Well, no, I'm not saying that he deserved it or didn't deserve it. I've never heard of this man. I mean, the only reason I even know him is because of this whole Andre Ward fiasco. You know, I don't know this dude. I don't know a lot of them, to be honest. But I do know Blake Caparello. We do know that he was a guy that Sergey Kovalev beat. So I don't have a problem with Blake Caparello because that is a common opponent. And I think at the end of the day, that is the biggest topic here, right? Is do we have a problem with these opponents, and do we have a problem being the ones that essentially is going to pay for, you know, for this fight? Because it's the fans. You know, the HBO deal just structured in a way where he gets 2 tune-ups and then Kovalev is on pay-per-view. So, like, is that worth it to you? Like, on top of seeing 2 bullshit fights, you also got to pay for the good fight. I mean,
technically you have to pay for the first one too, because that's on pay-per-view. Even though he's not headlining, technically we're paying for 2 of Andre Ward's fights to see him.
Essentially, that's what it is. You know, he's got a massive deal with Rock Nation, and he's obviously getting a better one with HBO, because it's been rumored for far too long. Virgil Hunter told you, Mario Munguia, personally in Texas, that he is going to fight on the Canelo undercard. So this guy is getting prime exposure, but the problem is the opponents. Now, to play devil's advocate, are the opponents as bad as they are sounding to be, right? I mean, again, you got this Rohan Murdoch. I never heard of him, but Samuel Clarkston from Texas, I know this kid.
He's 17. He's 17-3 with 11 KOs, and he's been KO. One of his losses is by KO. But you know, Jerry Odom and Cedric Agnew, who we'll get to later, are the only 2 names that stick out in my mind, other than Jesse Hart.
Not to me.
Okay.
LeVon Harville also is a guy that sticks out. I remember he got that magnificent knockout on a I think it was a Bernard Hopkins undercard in Atlantic City. Now this kid Harville, he's not a world beater, okay?
Yeah,
and he got
I don't think
knocked
that's a fair
out.
name.
No, I mean, well, still, he's a big puncher. I've watched him fight.
Okay, that's fine.
But listen, I want to introduce really quick Steven Calderon. He's one of our writers here at the Boxing Voice. He's been with us for a very long time, and he's from the San Francisco Bay Area. And we're going to bring him on. He's going to talk a little about Andre Ward. Obviously, he's going to
obviously defend Andre Ward.
Obviously defend Andre Ward with the Bay Area love. But without further ado, Steven Calderon, what's going on, brother?
Yo, hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for welcoming me onto the show. I appreciate it. It's been a while since I've been on. I'm glad. I missed the beginning, so I don't know if you guys have got into it about some of the other candidates. I heard Mario say that we're going to talk about some of the other guys coming up. I will say this: not everybody out here in the Bay Area loves Andre Ward. I know a handful of people who hate on Andre Ward, even out here in the Bay Area. I mean, it's well known he can draw a crowd, even over here at the HP Center. So He's not. It's not all love for Andre Ward out here. I'll tell you that. And if he wants to start making love, he's gonna have to start fighting some good fighters, and not just that, putting on good performances.
Now,
No,
Mario,
you're absolutely right.
I want you to take lead on the pronunciation of this last opponent, or one of these four, because we've told you about Rohan Murdoch, who's 18-1-14. We told you about Samuel Clarkston, who I believe is the best option of this four. Samuel Clarkston is what you would call the light heavyweight division, super middleweight division version of an Aaron Martinez, who arguably beat up Robert the Ghost Guerrero this year, beat up Devin Alexander, and probably deserves Fighter of the Year, because when have you seen Journeyman? I mean, what do you call him? What was he called last year? What did you call Aaron Martinez last year, Mario and Steven?
I would say a journeyman.
Okay.
I called him journeyman, lower level journeyman.
So then he deserves Fighter of the Year for knocking off 2 top 10 fighters.
Maybe
Yeah, but you're using semantics here.
Comeback is good. Comeback is good. But the point is, Samuel Clarkston is the same. He's the same thing. All right.
No.
His loss, let me tell you, he's got 3 losses. But just like many small town kids, who, not small town because he's in Texas, but guys that don't sign with the big promoter. This is a product of not signing with a big promoter.
Yeah, but Jerry Odom is not Robert Guerrero. Okay, Cedric
Jerry Odom isn't
Devin Alexander.
But these are good wins. They're
good wins. They are. And listen, I'm not hating on him. I'm not. And I'll finish it up for you so that you can get to your point, because I see that you're about to make one of those famous Ness points. I'll finish it up for you. Blake Capilero is who Ness had already previously mentioned, is another fighter that's been turned down by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. And again, this list of 5 fighters that we are reading off to you, these are names that have already been presented to the Nevada State Athletic Commission and have been declined. They do not think that the matchup was fair or even enough. The 4th fighter is Alexander Brand, who is 24-1 with 19 KOs. And before we talk a little bit about Brand, I'll finish off the list. Montreal's, and I knew you were going to leave this name for me, Schiller Hypolite. I don't know. Somebody out there could help me later. He's 16-1 with 10 KOs. Do not know much about him other than the fact that he's from Montreal and he's supposedly got a decent punch. That's from me doing research, not based off of his 16-10 KO ratio. But anyway, going back to Clarkson, I don't see what's wrong with him. I don't. Is it worthy of like a world title fight? Is it worthy of an HBO title fight? An HBO main event type of fight? No, none of these names are, But that being said, this is not about who Ward fights next. This is about who Ward fights 2 fights from now or 3 fights from now. All this is just middle ground. This is just filler.
Yeah, but guys, is it worth it? Like, as much as people give crap to other fighters and other mismatches, is it worth watching Paul Smith on BET and Rohan Murdoch or Samuel Clarkston on HBO on the undercard of Canelo Cotto just to turn around and pay for Kovalev-Ward?
Well, think about it this way. I mean, I'm not going to say any name specifically because I don't want to get a bunch of heat for trying to compare Ward to any other great fighters in the past, but good fighters in the past have gone on to like semi-retirement before, and they've gone in long stints of inactivity. And because of that, we didn't get to see them at their prime, or there are instances where we don't have film or footage of certain people at their prime. Again, I'm not going to name drop because I'm not trying to get any heat, but it's definitely a case where, do you want to miss Andre Ward and completely, or do you want to see him active? Because we could be seeing, he's arguably one of the pound for pound best right now, but is he though? I mean, fighting this level of opposition, fighting this inactive, is he though? Like, should we still be saying that he's as good as he was? I definitely don't think that we should be saying he was as good as he was. Otherwise he'd be undoubtedly number 1. But he's not undoubtedly number 1. We got to fly away. Whatever, that's a different thing. But he's not undoubtedly number one, and that's because he's fighting these lower tier guys. But I think it's better that we watch him fight in general and get to see something to gauge him as opposed to him just staying inactive.
And I'm going to make the point that Steven was just about to make. I heard it, and then he kind of got off track. Fine. Is Ward what he was? It's a fair question, and I agree. Probably not yet. Doesn't mean he can't be. But is boxing where it once was? No, it's not. When Andre Ward was number 2 pound for pound, he was only number 2 pound for pound because there was a fighter by the name of Floyd Mayweather Jr. who was undoubtedly and unquestionably better than everyone. That fighter isn't here anymore. And that brings the – I'm not going to say that makes Chocolatito worse or Golovkin worse. Not at all. They are as good as they have ever been, and boxing is exciting as it's ever been. But that number 1 mark is not as elusive as it once was. It's not out of reach as it once was. You can envision Golovkin, Ward, Chocolatito, Terrence Crawford, some of these guys taking that spot. Even Kovalev himself, perhaps even Stevenson. So boxing's not where it was. Andre Ward's come back into a point where he could legitimately be crowned the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. Because anything's worth Kovalev-Ward. Anything is worth it. I will pay for it. And let me ask you a question, Ness. Is it worth it in your mind for the Nevada State Athletic Commission to get involved to this point where they're turning down guys that Kovalev already fought, okay, guys that have already been in the ring with guys like Badou Jack, these types of fighters, and then you end up missing Ward Kovalev? Is that legit to you for a co-feature?
Well, when you put it that way, when you ask me, am I willing to sacrifice? Am I willing not to sacrifice? Am I willing to accept a sacrificial lamb?
Very well said.
Get Kovalev. Yes, I am. I would rather Nevada approve Samuel Clarkston so that we can get to Kovalev. When are they saying? In the fall of 2016, which it'll be a pay-per-view, but it'll be against, the light heavyweight title holder, Sergey Kovalev, who has 3 title belts. I want to see that fight. I want to see it. I'm a boxing fan. I'm going to pay for it the way I paid for Mayweather Berto. It is what it is.
Well, and I understand where you're going with that. I do. I get it. I will, real quick, before Steven makes his point about it, I will finish off the list because the list is not over. The 5 names that we gave you, by the way, briefly looking at Hypolite's record, and I don't even think that's how you say it, but he's fought nobody.
Hey, you want me to
he fought nobody.
I could get the butler to say it.
You can get the butler. You get the butler to say it, please, because I need help with that. That's bad. It's Schiller Hypolite, 16-1 and 10 KOs. And those 17 fights, he's fought nobody. Nobody of note that I can recognize. Anyway,
I think either way, that if we're gonna, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that either way, if we're gonna watch, I agree that I'm willing to go through the fire, like you said, Ness, to watch, eventually get to Kovalev-Ward, but I have to say that I'm not looking forward to watching any like mismatch, like you said, like a sacrificial lamb. That's one way of putting it, but we've seen mismatches to where kids are being put in hospitals, and
exactly,
I'm really against that. I really am,
and that's fine.
I don't know.
Right.
See,
I'm to prevent that. It's NSAC's job to prevent people from being put in the hospital. So if they deem someone unfit, look, this whole list is a bunch of people who shouldn't be in the ring with them. Is it really that bad if they're just thinning out the herd?
Okay, well, let me ask you this question.
I actually like the pressure that's being put on him. Like,
that's a good point.
You can't get anyone, this bad because of the Peter Quillen Zafata situation. But really quick, let me just get what Jeffrey says here. Okay, come on, Jeffrey. Making me look bad.
He doesn't know how to say it either.
Yeah, he's still calculating. Well, that being said,
okay, so I'm gonna real quick.
Schiller Hypolite.
There you go.
Schiller Hypolite. Perfect. I think I said it right the first time. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this real quick. This list, the fighter that is being, that has been approved
is Cedric Agnew.
Cedric Agnew. 28-2 with 14 KOs.
But Samuel Clarkston beat him.
Yes,
what?
Clarkson beat by.
Why would you? This is going to be on a pay-per-view. Do you think people are going to want to see Andre Ward?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're saying that these guys, in one breath, Steven, you're saying that these guys, and not you, the Athletic Commission, although you're agreeing, in one breath, you're saying guys like Clarkson and some of these other names that weren't too bad they're not deemed worthy enough, or they're in too much danger for their own good, and yet Cedric Agnew, who lost to Clarkson, is fine. We're gonna give him the shot.
Yeah,
and
that was a split decision loss. You're acting like this fool walked up to Agnew, punked him around for 8 rounds, and made him walk home and limp home, or put him in the hospital.
That's not the way that it's coming across to me at all. I think if you're going to give Agnew the shot, if the State Athletic Commission is going to give Agnew the shot, even though he just lost a very close split decision to Clarkson, who was not approved, why wouldn't you approve Clarkson? What's the difference in the two? And perhaps the difference in the two.
And while Mario may not be giving Jerry Odom any credit, he was an undefeated prospect. We were all following him here on the Boxing Voice. He's been on Showbox several times.
Awesome. He's been on our show several times.
Steve Farhood, he's always spoke highly of him. And listen, Clarkson went in there and blew him out. I was live at that fight with our other Texas correspondent, Anthony Rodriguez, and also Gina was there. This was on the Adam Lopez card. And listen, Odom, I expected him to win.
So did I.
This guy, he sparred Andre Ward too. Let me tell you, I believe Samuel Clarkson has sparred Andre Ward. It'd be interesting to see if Anthony Rod calls in, to see if he can just confirm that.
Well, and I'll finish up by saying real quick that the reason why Cedric Agnew has not gone ahead, and the reason why HBO and Ward, and specifically Ward, have not gone ahead and signed the fight is because Ward is preparing to fight Kovalev. And so because he's preparing to fight Kovalev eventually, he doesn't want to face a left-hander, which Agnew is a left-hander. He'd prefer to fight right-handers and people that'll get him more prepared for Kovalev. So
which
I
makes
understand
sense.
that. Yeah, no, definitely. It does. It does.
Listen, yeah, Agnew's a bigger name, but he's a southpaw. He's not getting you ready for Kovalev. That's a wasted fight.
According to BoxRec, Clarkson's southpaw too.
Really?
Is he? I don't remember. No.
Yeah, right.
When he fought Jerry Odom, I don't remember him being southpaw.
That's southpaw. He's right. It says southpaw. That is shocking.
Yeah, but when he fought Jerry Odom, I don't remember.
Hey, well, it's not Andre Ward asking for Clarkson, is it? I don't know.
Probably
listen,
not. That's
Blake Caparello is a guy that Kovalev beat up, right? I mean, Kovalev beat him up. They didn't even approve Caparello. I mean,
I know, and it's not the same athletic commission. But
I just don't understand why they're being so picky with Ward.
Out of all the mismatches that have happened over the last 10 years.
To be fair, right, let's just take a look at the division. I mean, I bet you there's some pretty big names that we could be, getting Ward in there.
I bet there's not.
Well, Lucien Boutte is tied up, and he's all the way at number 20. Wow. So Ward could have fought Michael Antonio Rubio. A lot of people have been using him recently. And Perry Bond.
Perry Bond would have been a good
18
name.
and 17 ranked.
Isn't he a Heyman fighter, though, no?
Perry, they're probably tied up with him in somehow or some other way, kind of options or something. They've both been on PBC cards in the past. But look, Felix Sturm, I mean, is that too big of a fight to be a tune-up for Ward?
I think so.
These guys all campaigning mostly in and around like 168. I mean, this is
160. Yeah, it's a 168.
Yeah, Sturm was 160, and Parabon was 168, wasn't he?
Yeah, you're right.
True.
I thought I was looking at the light heavyweight division. Okay, light heavyweight.
Middleweight.
Oh, wow. Listen.
For Andre Ward like a year ago when he was first coming back, that would have been way better than.
Oh, my God.
Well, and listen, would it be okay in y'all's eyes to do that? To have a Parabon and bring him up to 175, considering Andre Ward isn't really technically a full-fledged 175 yet?
No, definitely.
Oh, y'all are haters.
I don't think so.
I think it'll be fine. I don't see why not.
Fight the best at light heavyweight, you better be fighting some light heavyweights.
No, yeah, that's a good point. All right, yeah, that's fair. Aren't those Andre Ward problems and not Nevada State Athletic Commission problems and not fan problems? Because I would love to see the fight. If at the end of the day Ward messes his own training up and does not prepare well for Kovalev or doesn't adjust to the.
Hey, you know what it is, dude? There's just no soft touches in this division right now. I mean, listen, there's fighters that I believe Andre Ward will beat.
Let's give him.
But I know who you're getting to. I know who you're getting to.
No, there's a lot of fighters in this division from the 20 to the number 1. There's a lot. I'm gonna tell you. Since we're this is a spontaneous show. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna go down each name, and I'll tell you that he'll beat him. But it may be tough or not, right? So obviously I don't know this dude from Nekomping, wherever that's from. But Vasily Shabaransky, he's pretty good, but I think he's too green right now. He's 14-0. He's definitely a top, heavily touted prospect, but he's ranked number 19, and he's like I said, it's too soon. Karpensi, he's not ready for Ward. We seen what Stevenson did to him. Sakio Bika, Ward already beat him. Robert Stieglitz, Ward will beat him. Mohammadi, Ward will beat him. Cleverly, Ward will beat him. Edwin Rodriguez, Ward already beat him. Marcus Brown, which is number 12 now. We're at number 12, ladies and gentlemen. 13 and 12 is Edwin Rodriguez, and 12 is Marcus Brown, the Olympian from 2012, is already ranked number 12 in this division.
Crazy.
Things are going to get crazy next year.
That's how light it is.
And Ward would beat him right now. Julio Cesar Chavez, Ward would beat him right now. Thomas Ostuzian, Ward would beat him right now. Bernard
That's
Hopkins.
a good fight. That's no, wait.
Hold on, brother. Ostuzian, some people like myself had Brandon Gonzalez beating Ostuzian. Brandon Gonzalez is a no-frills version of Andre Ward.
He beats him. I wanted to say that's a not as easy fight as some of these other ones. But you're right.
I'm not even done, brother, because
go ahead.
Bernard Hopkins is number 9. Ward beats him. John Pascal, Ward beats him. Isaac Chilemba, Ward beats him. Chilemba, ladies and gentlemen, is number 7. He signed a main event, so be prepared to watch that versus Sergey Kovalev. Isaac Chilemba, that is, versus Sergey Kovalev. Arthur Beterbiev, signed to Al Heyman, only has, 9 fights, ranked number 6. I don't know if Ward beats him. That's a fight. But would Beterbiev take it right now at 9-0? Would Ward take it right now? No. But that's a fight. Bramir, I hear about him, never watched him, read press releases on him. I watch him when I gotta watch him. I don't know. I'm gonna pick Ward over this guy, okay? Eldir Alvarez, we've watched him, 18-0. He's good, but I don't know if he's ready.
No, he's not.
He's strong, though. He's strong. He's strong, though. Fonfora, hey, man, reborn, rejuvenated, new man, great fight. Stevenson, great fight. Kovalev, great fight. That being said, which one is your poison?
Yeah, we'll see, and that's the thing.
I gotta ask a question, and this is just me being curious. I mean, what about Uniski Gonzalez? The guy who
I like that fight. I really do, and I mentioned that on one of the previous shows. I love that fight. The thing is, would Ward take it after seeing what? Listen,
I mean, he lost. I mean,
but Gonzalez took something from Pascal that night, man. He took something from Pascal.
And a lot of people thought he won that fight too. I mean, I can't believe Uneski's not in there.
But he lost. Remember that? So I feel like coming off of that kind of loss, he's HBO knows him. I'm sure that they're more than welcome to have him. Fans are probably going to more or less know about him after hearing about the quote unquote, disputed decision and everything like that. And I mean, he's got the style that seems to mesh pretty well with boxers who like to lean back and box off the back foot. I mean, if anything, the style matchup with Ward, in my opinion, that'd be a great fight to get him back in the light, because it's got the potential to be exciting, but Ward could still win.
I just want to jump in here real quick and give credit to our own ranking system, because Mario mentioned, I can't believe Uneski Gonzalez isn't in there, and he's right. And someone who I felt should have been in there was Sullivan Barrera, the Cuban.
Definitely.
But thank God for TBV rankings. Remember, subscribe. TBV. Remember, subscribe, sign up. If you're listening on Blog Talk, Make sure you're following us so you can get that email. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe there. If you're listening on iTunes, make sure you subscribe there because we're keeping you up to date. And look, Sullivan Barrera is our number 15. Good. I had nothing to do with this committee. I want to say that. That being said, 14 is Shawnee Monahan. 13 is Marcus Brown. 12 is Edwin Rodriguez, Isaac Chilemba, Nathan Cleverly, Andre Ward, Eldelier Alvarez, Yuneski Gonzalez, nice. Jean Pascal, Brahmir again, Jurgen Brahmir, Andre Fonfora, Bernard Hopkins, Sergey Kovalev. So, our rankings seem a little more realistic. I guess
and champion is Adonis Stevenson, right?
And champion is Adonis Stevenson.
That's why.
I would like to retract my statement when I said give me Agnew. I would much rather say give me Gonzalez. Give me Gonzalez. Give me Gonzalez.
No, and even on our rankings, there are better options for Andre Ward, even if he wanted to go on the lower end of the totem pole. I mean, given a guy like Sullivan Barrera, who has a punch, but he's a bit wild. He's that Cuban style. He's not, Cubans aren't known to be workers. Andre Ward might have a tougher time, but he's more of a worker. He can get a ground out win over a Sullivan Barrera, a natural 175-pounder to prepare him. But all right, I wouldn't mind if he did a Monahan. HB already deals with Top Rank. Give him Monahan, let him send Monahan where he needs to go. Marcus Brown, too soon. If Marcus Brown signs the dotted line and they do business without Heyman and somehow this happens, which all those politics say that it won't, or, hey, that's his problem. I would recommend that not happen. Edwin Rodriguez been there, done that, even though he always felt like that weight was killing him, and now he's at light heavyweight. I just don't see the power to stop Andre Ward and he does what Edwin does way better. And again, Chilemba, I don't know. These guys, these are the guys, but these are better names than Clarkston. Like, I take Isaac Chilemba.
But that's the problem, Ness. That's the problem. Listen, what you just said. You heard what you just said. You said these are better names. And is that what this is coming down to? Is this a popularity contest?
Yes.
It shouldn't be. You should not take money out of the pocket of a professional and say that he's risking his life against a certain fighter.
The problem is that you're getting caught up in the better name, thinking that's all that it means literal. No, better name means that the fighter is better. He's better. Better. He fought better. Competition. He's further along in his career. Nathan Cleverly just lost to Andre Fonfora, but he fought a spirited fight. He threw thousands of punches, right? So I wouldn't mind giving him a shot over Samuel Clarkston, who's been fighting the C-level opposition of divisions. Jerry Odom isn't a 175-pounder, but I give him credit for knocking him out. You got to remember these things. LaVarn Harvard was like 15-0. He knocked him out, but I give him credit for knocking, but he's 15-0, and he's not 15-0 Marcus Brown. He's 15-0 small-time promoter, fighting on Atlantic City cards, he's
probably fought tougher guys. Yeah, he's fought. Jerry Odom's probably better than anyone Marcus Brown's fought except for his last opponent.
You're insane.
Who has Marcus Brown fought?
Listen, I'm not gonna get into that, but
he hasn't. Well, I'll put it to you like this.
Like you said, his last fight is bigger than anything Odom has done.
True, and that's fine, but it's one fight. Okay, so I'm gonna
just like Gonzalez. We didn't know Gonzalez until he lost one to Pascal.
Fair.
So
that's fair. That's fair.
Everyone needs.
I'm gonna put it to you. I posed the question earlier, and I still want to hear from Steven too. But I'll put it to you this way: I asked, "Is at the end of the day, Nevada State Athletic Commission?" I'm not saying they're overstepping their bounds because this is their job to protect fighters. But what I am gonna say is this. For this all to boil down to the Nevada State Athletic Commission basically making or breaking Kovalev-Ward. Not that I think that it absolutely hinges on this fight, but I do think that it's kind of a scary proposition for this fight to be somehow the dictating factor between Kovalev and Ward not happening in 2016. Listen, if everything goes to plan, they're fighting this time next year, or maybe about a month earlier, right? Okay, sometime in October, November, they're fighting this time next year. That's according to plan. That's already way too long. Why can't they fight in April? Why can't they fight in May, June? They can fight at any of these times. But what I will tell you is this. I just want it to happen. And if that means we got to get 2 BS Ward fights, if that means we got to see Kovalev in with somebody BS, I don't care. And this would have never happened if they came to Texas and Canelo Cotto was in Texas. They would have approved me. But I just want to put that point out there is that I think the Nevada State Athletic Commission they're not doing anything wrong. I don't think they're in the wrong. I just think that this is terrible if they're the ones that end up being the determining factor.
I think somebody has to put their foot down. Mario, someone has to put their foot down. Look at what happened to Safara. There's plenty other mismatches. I mean, at the end of the day, Cleverly from Fora was a mismatch. It's just that Cleverly was spirited. Like I said, that's all you can say. He's a good
loser. It was a mismatch on paper, but no, that was a good fight.
Whatever, man. He never had the power to compete with Fora. Never.
Yeah, but all of these fights that are proposed are all mismatches, right? I mean, can't we all agree on that? So then,
that's what a tune-up is.
If it's going to be a mismatch fight, I think it should be against someone who not necessarily Ward can look good against, because he needs to. I think he not only.
I don't understand how could we do this though as human beings. How could it be okay with us that we're gonna allow a fight
to get too hurt?
No, but listen, as a promoter,
he's not gonna get hurt, yo.
What do you mean he's not gonna get hurt?
Yeah,
these guys, Ward is gonna hurt these guys. That Samuel Clarkson is so far below Andre Ward's level that he's going to get physically injured in this fight to the point that, like, that's my point. Are they going to win? No, they're not.
Peter Quillen wait a minute. So Peter Quillen has better pedigree?
No, but that was a mismatch beyond mismatches. That kid had no business even being in a PBC ring.
What's the difference between Safada and Murdoch? It's no different.
Okay, but listen, some of those names are correct. Murdoch, that was a good, Schiller or whatever, that was fine. Those they don't approve those names. I get that and I agree.
My question is this:
those other names, Blake Capillero, come on.
Let's not get hung up in the weeds, right? My question to you guys is that. Well, actually, did Steven ever answer you?
He didn't.
Steven, okay.
What'd you think?
I don't even remember the question, man. We got tangent.
Yeah, true.
All right, so then look, this is what I'll say. I'll pose this question. Is this an indictment on Ward that this is the opposition that he's trying to negotiate? I mean, who else is who's putting up these names, Mario? Is Ward asking for this?
It said it was his promoter. It said it was his promoter. It was Rock Nation that are putting up these names.
It's what's his name?
You know damn well that Ward doesn't call names out. The only instance in his in the last couple of years since he's been retired, the only time he's ever even referenced a name is when he brought up the whole little G situation. That whole situation was the last time he calls out names. He doesn't call people out. It's up to his promoter, and he leaves it like that. I guess in signing Rock Nation.
I don't know,
Finish
Steven.
the question because I like where you were going with that.
Well, no, that's the question. Is this an indictment on Andre Ward and on who he is? On who he is.
I think it is.
Because one thing is a tune-up, another thing is sacrificial lamb. I mean, just at the end of the day, we went through numerous names that sound better than these 5, even 6 with Agnew. Even including Agnew. We mentioned plenty of names that sound way better than that. But it is what it is, right? Again, the fans pay.
Yeah, and that's the biggest part of it. And I'm going to go on to say something else. I thought you were going to go somewhere else with this, Ness, but the indictment on Andre Ward, I believe it is that. And not only that, I think this is almost disrespectful. Look what Nevada State Athletic Commission has allowed in the past. When Oscar De La Hoya is coming back from a long layoff and he needs a tune-up to fight someone, did anyone think that when De La Hoya came back and fought 2 pounds, what's his name?
Stevie Forbes.
Stevie Forbes. That Forbes had a chance? No. That was a tune-up. Ward is not being given the same benefit of the doubt that fighters on those levels are given. And is he on that level commercially? No.
But that's why he doesn't get them. That's why he doesn't get them.
He deserves them.
Listen, we're not going to roll out the red carpet. We're not going to roll out the red carpet if you're not a celebrity, baby. Ain't nobody flashing cameras.
This is boxing. How many people are celebrities? This is
those that Those
It
that
should be-
are. Gennady Golovkin is a celebrity, regardless of the pay-per-view numbers.
You're right.
Andre Ward is a celebrity. Obviously, Adrian Broner, Andre
You just said
Berto.
Andre Ward wasn't.
Huh?
You just said Andre Ward is the
I
celebrity.
said Andre Berto.
You said Andre Ward before that, I promise you. But
No,
okay,
I said Adrian
listen.
Broner before that.
Oh, okay, I thought you said Andre Ward, but I will say this. Listen,
Look, if you
not
want to be a
only
celebrity, you
that, but
gotta
it
be
should
active.
be Ward
You gotta
Kovalev.
be in the limelight.
Exactly.
And you need to
Oh my
fight.
God, where's the
matter.
coins?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
First ever
There's
coin.
too
Hold
much
up,
disrespect
Mario.
on Ward for the kind of fighter he is. He is not a celebrity in that sense of the word. I get that, and you're right. But it's like we're punishing him because he's not flamboyant and because he's not making
He's
sex
being
tapes.
punished for being inactive.
Yeah, but all the things that he did before that, where he's at now, he's ready to fight, and he's ready to fight Kovalev. So
What
we should
have
give
you
him
done
what
for
he
me
wants.
lately?
We should give him what he wants because he's fighting the guy that Stevenson wouldn't fight. Would you have rather him been active this whole time and the road led to what, Fanfara rematch as opposed to Kovalev? Look at the two routes these guys took. Stevenson has damaged his career by fighting, and Ward's damaged his career by not fighting. But
No,
out of
he's
the two
not.
of them,
Steven has put. Listen,
person has the
Stevenson,
most
my friend. Listen, you're silly because Stevenson has positioned himself to do the same exact thing that Sergey Kovalev is doing. We went down all the names in this division. Who has more names, HBO or PBC? They're there. I mean, Cleverly obviously is with Heyman, and he's number 10 for us. Chilemba is with HBO and Main Events. Rodriguez is with PBC and Heyman. Marcus Brown, PBC and Heyman. Monaghan is with Top Rank. Sullivan Barrera is with Yvonne Michelle, which is Heyman.
It seems
You know?
pretty split to me because and then you forgot to mention
Yes.
Mexican Gonzalez. You know
Okay.
they want to bring
No,
him
I'm
back.
not, but I'm not
Pascal.
done. I'm not done. El Delir Alvarez, Heyman. Unespi
PBC.
Gonzalez, HBO. Pascal, either or, really. He could do either or right now. Bramer, I have no clue. From Fora, PBC Heyman. Better Beef, PBC Heyman. And Bernard Hopkins, I'm going to still say he could do either. Kovalev
Yeah,
is
it's-
HBO.
So now you're
Nah,
doing your
that
list.
kid's
It
going
still
HBO.
seems
That
pretty
guy's
split.
going HBO.
Maybe PBC has one, maybe two more, but you just finished the list and it seems pretty still split.
But the thing
In
is
terms of
this.
talent,
The thing is this. Kovalev has looked so dominant that we are not satisfied with Kovalev Chilemba. We are not satisfied with Kovalev Unespi Gonzalez. We are not satisfied with a Kovalev Bernard Hopkins rematch. That's what they have. As a boxing fan, you are satisfied with Stevenson Pascal or Stevenson Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I would say Stevenson from for a rematch since he dropped him in the first fight, and now he's been looking better. You are more excited for some of those matchups. Edwin Rodriguez hasn't earned the shot yet. You know, he's about to fight Michael Seals, some guy we never even heard of. And I read two different rankings, and he's not even ranked on the top 20 on BoxRec, top 15 on TBV. So we'll see what he's about, you know. But
Yeah, but
Edwin Rodriguez is on the cusp.
I still think that y'all are completely ignoring the fact that Andre Ward is being disrespected, I think, in a
I think
certain
he's being more respected because they're being more critical of who his opponents can and can't be. I mean, it can be easy to put like I think it'd be easy to match one of these lower tier guys with like an up and come or with like a name but not a star or around that level. But for them to say, you know what, man, you're one of the best, you can't be fighting these lower tier guys, regardless of who they may or may not have, regardless of who they beat, you know, you got to step up your competition. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, but listen to what you're saying, Steven, and think about where we are. Kovalev, it's not called Ward Kovalev. This is being called Kovalev-Ward. Kovalev has stolen the A side. And do I think that Kovalev has do I believe Kovalev's earned it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
He is the champion
But-
of the division. Of course.
Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, look where Andre Ward has been and look where he's come. Yes, he really ruined a part of his career by taking so much time off. But I think Andre Ward is that guy at the end of the day. He's an American. He's a gold medalist, Olympian. You know, he has a really good story. He's a good role model for kids. I mean, he's got all these tangibles that are just really hard to come by in today's sports. You know,
Except
and
for-
then we have
except for
Kovalev, and
anything
he's a good face too. I like Kovalev. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but you know, I don't know. I feel like Ward did this to himself to a degree, but I think that because he's willing to fight now, because he's back, we should, in a sense, give him that A-side treatment.
Just don't get why you
So
have
you're
so much
saying we should-
sympathy for a guy that's been so inactive. What has he done for you to just like continue to roll out the red carpet?
I'll tell you what he's gonna do. And if he does this, I'm good with it. If he signs his name to an intent saying that he will fight Kovalev in 2016, and I don't care if it's December 31st, 2016, then that man has earned my respect, and he is back. And he's fighting the fights that we want to see. That's all we wanted from him. The whole time he was gone.
Hey, listen, I'm a hardcore fan.
Find one fight. I mean,
I'm a hardcore fan like you, and I know the reality of this boxing realm that we live in, which means in order to get one super fight, we have to see two bad fights. You know, it's like the old motto. You got to break a couple of eggs to make an omelet, and that's exactly what's happening here. And I get you. And you know what? Because we've been programmed by these promoters and these networks and these television packages, I am going to surrender like you and say, yes, I'd take 2 tune-ups to get one super fight with Kovalev. I'm sorry. Just because of this boxing landscape, Steven, not because of anything else. What about you?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm willing to do it. Whether or not I'm going to be happy about it could be a different story. I mean, if I'm trying to figure out a way to put this. I mean, if I know I'm going to have a really, really good dinner, but, you know, before that, I got to sit through some traffic on the fucking freeway before I can get to that steakhouse. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's going to be fun at the end of the road, but on the way there is going to be kind of shitty and terrible. So.
But is the steak worth it, baby? Is that juicy filet mignon? I'm a New York strip. I'm a New York strip type of guy. I'm actually a Cuban steak lover. Yeah, well, New York strip is the English version. I'm more of a.
That make it if it's a boring fight, and suppose Kovalev goes out there and crushes him early, or suppose Ward goes out there and pulls off this awesome performance and doesn't get touched and it ends up being a boring fight. But
you're talking about hindsight. You're talking about hindsight.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter though, because that's just part of the game. You know, we can't ask for the fight and then, you know, also expect it to be what we thought it was. We just have to let it play out. I mean, perfect example is Mayweather Pacquiao. You wanted it, you got it.
Yeah, but no. All right. Good point.
I mean, it is what it is. Listen, I don't know. I think we pretty much touched on all the points that we needed to make. We'll leave it in the hands of you guys. You know, obviously, like, comment, subscribe. Definitely put your comments in the bottom. Let us know what you think. Which route should Ward go? Has he done this to himself? Do you even care? Does he belong on the Cotto Canelo undercard?
I think you should pose the steak question. Is it a juicy enough steak? And I believe
Steven didn't let me get to the steak part. See,
I took your steak. My bad.
For me, if Ward Kovalev is what Steven wants it to be, right? A good matchup on paper and a good matchup in the ring live on pay-per-view, well, then that for me is definitely a Cuban churrasco. That's would be it for me. They're excellent, and it, you know, Americans call it a New York strip, but it's not. Go to a Cuban restaurant and have yourself a churrasco, and then we'll talk. It's excellent, but that's what this fight should be. It is on paper anyway. You know, I would be
not one of the best fights in boxing though, Ness.
It is. I mean,
why are people? I mean, we should be doing whatever we could. Like, we were willing to take anything.
We don't want to walk through the mud, Mario. We don't want to walk through the mud anymore. It's not fair anymore to us. That's why we bitch and moan. But at the end of the day, you know, you're right. The alternative is a lot worse. Him not fighting these tune-ups and him not fighting Kovalev is worse than him fighting Blake Caparello for nothing, just cause. You know what I'm saying?
I know you're ready to end this, but I'm curious about Mr. Bay Area and all the. And listen, this is the only question I'm going to ask about this man. The man's name will not be mentioned more than once. But in your opinion, Steven, is Kovalev-Ward bigger than Golovkin-Ward?
That depends on where they fight, in my opinion. Because Kovalev-Ward would definitely be over there on the East Coast, but Golovkin-Ward would more likely be out here. So for me, if it was Golovkin-Ward, it'd be bigger because it'd be out here.
Yeah, but you're talking bigger for you. Maybe Mario. Mario, you're back. Do you mean bigger for him?
Yeah, I meant overall. I meant in his opinion, not like for Californians or NorCal or SoCal people. I'm just saying in his opinion, for his experience, who's Ward's biggest opponent?
For me, his biggest opponent by far is definitely Carl Froch, in my opinion.
No, I mean, out of the two possible potential, who's his biggest potential opponent? I should have said.
It'd probably be Kovalev, because Ward would be stepping up and he would be coming into a division where, he just got his toes wet with a couple touch-ups, and now, because if he's going to do just these two really low-level fights, and then he's going to go and fight, the baddest guy in and around the division, then that's interesting. As opposed to him fighting someone from a lower weight coming up, he's the one who's stepping up. He's the one who's making it difficult for himself by taking these weak touches and then going into then going up to the top fighter. I think it'd be a bigger fight overall if he fought Kovalev. Because Kovalev, we don't know. That's why I said, we don't know if Kovalev's going to go out and crush him or if Ward's going to go out there and outclass him. We don't know. It's much more intriguing, as opposed to where I think the consensus right now is GGG loses.
I don't know. I think you're wrong, man. I think the bigger fight is GGG Ward, simply because more people know them too. People don't know Kovalev. He doesn't have the charm that GGG has. No, they don't even flock to see Kovalev the way that they go out to see Triple G. It's a bigger fight with Ward and Triple G than it is with Kovalev. This would be Kovalev's first pay-per-view. This would at least be Triple G's second,
Yeah, but again, it would be his first pay-per-view, but at least it'd be against a worthy opponent. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be just his first pay-per-view ever, and we're gonna see where he's at. No. This would be his first pay-per-view.
But Kovalev's beaten Hopkins. He beat one of the big guys in his division. Look at Golovkin.
Yeah. So why isn't he as popular? Why is he doing 4,000 in AC? Because he's got a little
middleweights traditionally.
Little Willie Billy promoter. That's why. K2 promoting. Okay. Simple as that.
Why you hating on my girl?
I'm not hating on her. I'm just keeping it real. One guy is being pushed like crazy, man. One guy, and he's fighting, like you said, he didn't fight Hopkins. He hasn't fought Hopkins, and he's still bigger. He's a bigger draw, man. We got to admit it.
I agree with Steven. I think Kovalev Ward is a bigger fight. I do. I think I'm more excited for that fight than I am for Golovkin. Look, when Golovkin gets up to 168,
you know why? Because you don't give Golovkin a chance. Ward beats Golovkin. You do.
I don't like Ward coming down for that fight.
Why else would you rather see Ward Kovalev?
Because Ward's not small enough. Yeah.
How is it more interesting?
Because
Ward is.
How is it more of a toss-up? So then you as well feels that Ward beats Golovkin.
Because boxers can go up in a higher weight division and maintain their skill. Punchers can't go up into a higher division and keep their power and still be as successful as someone who's bigger and naturally much more athletic.
So he's also saying that Andre Ward beats Golovkin.
I don't say that he does, but I think the consensus is that he's more likely to do
Listen, this is what Steven's saying. The best part of Golovkin is lost in that fight.
You didn't hear
the best part. Yes, I did. This is what he's saying. If Golovkin and Ward fight, having to come up and having to come down, Golovkin loses a little bit of what makes him such an attractive fighter, or such an attractive, such a monstrous puncher. Ward coming down, he loses the stamina that adds to make him the fighter that he is. So we get a watered down version of that fight.
Whereas if Ward just goes up, I mean, again, he's not going to lose any of his skill of what got him here. He's going to be just as good and just as smart with a healthier weight, what we could assume is a healthier weight. I mean, he fought this.
I just don't see it. I see it very simple. I see it very black and white. You guys want him to go up because you feel there's more danger with Kovalev than there is with Golovkin. That's it.
And dangerous fights make for exciting matches.
Hey, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing. You see that I'm saying I accept 2 tune-ups to get 1 Kovalev. I'm taking it.
That's true. I don't take that. I don't like taking
2 to get 1.
I don't like taking 2 tune-ups, man. I don't.
Mexican style, baby. Mexican style. Take 2 to get 1. That's what we doing with Ward. Mexican style. He's taking 2 to give us 1. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a spontaneous show. Another one brought to you by ThaBoxingvoice. Obviously, I want to thank Steven Calderon, one of our writers, and Mario Munguia as well for joining me on this little quick debate, going over Andre Ward and the possibilities. What is, what will be, what could happen, we won't know. But like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up if you're looking on YouTube. And remember to follow us on Blog Talk to receive 1 email. You would have known that we were doing this show. And drop us a 5-star review on iTunes. Very important. And if you find it in your heart and in that deep pocket of yours, whoop, hit on the boxingvoice.com and drop a donation to keep the lights on over here. We want to thank everyone, obviously, for joining us and continuing to support us. That being said, you can find me on Twitter at NestGTO, and that's where I'm going to answer you. So stop Facebooking me because I don't even use that thing. Maybe now, maybe in the future. I don't know. But Mario?
You can find me at Mario Munguia, and I am not a Twitter snob, so you can come to Facebook and talk to me on Facebook as well.
You can come find me at Calderon92. I post all of my articles. Keep your eye out. And TBV for life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, see you guys tomorrow for our Thursday show, which we're going to have Edwin Rodriguez and Mario Barrios, hot prospect out of Texas. So tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Thursday. Later. Peace.